Hey everyone, Ryan here at Etrailer. Today on our 2024 Ford Bronco, we're going to be showing you how to install the Roadmaster Base Plate Kit with removable arms. Before we get into that though, let's take a minute, check this out, and make sure it's going to work for you. Right off the bat, I do want to address one of the main questions that we get asked when it comes to setting up a flat toe, and that's, what parts am I going to need? So there's a total of 5 major components. You'll have your base plate, your tow bar, your safety cables, your tow bar wiring, as well as your supplemental braking system. This is what the front of your Bronco can look like whenever you're not hooked up behind your coach and flat towing. And I think that's important, right? Because you're not always going to be pulling this behind your motorhome. And honestly, I think it's about as good as it can look, if you were to ask me. Since this base plate works with the Ford heavy-duty bumper as well as the capable bumpers, more or less the base plate just replaces your hooks here, so just goes in place of it, and so it doesn't look too out of place by any means. You know, originally there was something there to begin with, and now we just have a base plate. Compared to some of the other base plates, you know, they're all going to look fairly similar, come out in these openings. I do like the fact that Roadmaster has this bracket built in over here on the driver's side to allow you to mount up your wiring connector. So I think it looks better, and you don't have to try to figure that out and go through all that. Now, one thing to pay attention to too, you know, if you happen to have a factory plastic bumper, there's other base plates that'll fit that. So be sure to use our fit guide, the drop-down menu, put in what type of bumper your Bronco has. That way you can get the right base plate the first time. Since we do have removable arms whenever we're ready to hook up, you're just simply going to take them, slide them in the base plate, rotate them about a quarter turn, they'll lock into position. Be the same deal with this one here, and now that's going to give us that attachment point we need to allow us to hook up our tow bar. With these in, take your tow bar, line the ends up there, pop that in place, pin it down. The safety chain openings are easy to get to and pretty much in line, which I like. So just about any size hook will work there. And the base plate is going to work with a handful of different tow bars. So all the Roadmaster tow bars, you can go right to it. We have an Etrailer.com XHD tow bar today with the Roadmaster ends. So that's compatible. And even if you happen to have a different brand tow bar already that you like, or you got your eye on another one and it's not a direct matchup, chances are pretty good you can make it work. And that's because there's a bunch of different adapter ends available nowadays that'll let you switch the ends out and let you pair up a different brand tow bar to this base plate. With everything hooked up, I think the Bronco looks pretty good. You know, I like how everything is in line, where the tow bar attaches, the wiring attaches, your safety cable, and so it just makes for a clean and organized look. So at the end of the day, a base plate you really can't go wrong with. Pretty versatile, you know, different tow bars, being able to hook up to it, potentially with adapters and things like that. So nice setup. As far as the installation goes, it's really not too bad or too complicated per se. Or very time consuming. It is a little cumbersome, I guess you will, in some cases, having to kind of get everything in, get some of the bolts started, make sure it lines up. If it don't, you know, you might have to rework a couple of things and go from there. But hopefully what I learned from my experience, I can save you a little bit of time and make it a little more simple as well. With that said though, if this is something you don't even want to mess with, you can always use our dealer locator, and that can help you find a shop in your neighborhood that can do something like this for you. But if you're going to knock it out and hang around, we'll go ahead, pull into the garage, and get started on it now. To begin our installation, we're going to start by working underneath of our Bronco, and we have this metal skid plate that we need to remove. So on each side up front, we'll have a 15mm head bolt. We'll pull these completely out. And then with these two, You should just be able to loosen them up a little bit because this plate actually kind of slides into it. Now we should be able to just kind of slide it out and set it off to the side. Now if we look at our front bumper, we're going to have this little plastic piece around our hook here. And from this point on, whatever we do to one side of our vehicle, we'll also do to the other side. We set up the same way. But we can remove this trim piece. There's 4 push pin fasteners. You can use a trim tool like this or even a flathead screwdriver. Work the head out and then you're able to remove the whole base. So you got 2 up here. And the last one's right here in this corner. And then you can just kind of grab this. It's going to feel kind of tight, but just pull it straight back towards you. That'll release it. You can set it off to the side. We're able to get to the 3 bolts now that are actually holding our bumper assembly on. So for these 2, I'm going to take a 15 millimeter and remove them completely. And then for this one, I'm just going to remove it about halfway. That way there's still some threads in there and the bumper will be supported so I can find someone to give me a hand and actually get everything removed. With someone help me out now, we're just kind of supporting the bumper. Get those other 2 bolts pulled out. And we should be able to kind of pull this forward, but not too far because there's more than likely a wiring connector back here that will have to get disconnected. And there's the wire. It's just a matter of finding the actual connector, which I think will be tucked up in this corner here. So there it is. You just push down on the center of that tab, pull the 2 ends apart, and we should be free now, so we can just get this off to the side. If you look at the back side of your bumper, on each side you'll see a 10 millimeter head bolt right there in the middle, and that's just the last little fastener holding our tow hook and everything on. So we'll pull that out. That'll release all this stuff, which we can get out of our way. And we are going to have to trim an area out here to give us the proper clearance that we need. This is going to be the area that we need to cut out. And there is a diagram and instructions with some measurements that you can follow. And, so I just marked that out. It's pretty thick steel. You can use a cutoff wheel or angle grinder or something if you got one. I just happen to have a Sawzall and I'm going to use. Should work out pretty good, but we'll go ahead and get this material removed. Got that material all removed and everything, and this is how it turned out. You know, I did come back with a file and just kind of smooth out some of the rough edges, knock those down. Not a bad idea either. I just took a paint stick and covered up that bare metal just to help keep it protected. Moving back to the front of your Bronco, if you look at the side of your frame rail, all right, there will be an existing hole in it. And we need to enlarge it to 9/16 in size, and we're going to run that all the way through because on the other side of the boxed frame, you know, there's a hole that's pretty much the size we need it to be, but might as well run it through and make them both the same. Just be careful if you have a really long drill bit not to, you know, run it too far and hit your radiator and you know, some of these other components here. With all that stuff done, now we can take our bumper and just 1 bolt, and we'll line this back on up here. We'll just get a few threads started hand tight, That way the bumper will support itself. At this point you can grab one of the base plates. You know, they are side specific, so check the diagram and the instructions. And what we're gonna do, these are gonna go in the frame like that. So we'll remove this bolt. And all the hardware that we're gonna use to secure the base plate, you're gonna take some red Loctite, put a drop of that on. You can get it here at Etrailer if you don't have any. We'll have to kind of do this one at a time here, but you take the factory bolt, put that through. Make sure you got it on correct first. So put that through. Then you take one of these spacers, slide that on. And we're going to do that for all three of these attachment points. So it's a little tricky to hold them all in there like that, but I'll get this lined up. And get them all started hand tight. Now you can come to the holes in the side of the frame. So those holes that we enlarge, you're going to line up with some nuts in the base plate, right, that are already in there. You might have to, depending on your base plate, you know, and your exact vehicle, you might have to enlarge these openings a little bit bigger to get them lined up better. So just something to think about there. But you can take a bolt, put on a split lock washer and a flat washer and your Loctite, and get these started. So once you have the other side going, just like this one, and everything's in place and hand tight, you can center the bumper from side to side and up and down. We'll come back and snug all the hardware down. For the hardware on the side of our frame rail, you can use a 3/4 inch socket to snug those down. We can completely torque everything down now to the amount specified in the instructions. You first want to start with your factory bolts, which are at M12 by 1.75, in case you're wondering. And once you have all them torqued, then you can move on to the hardware on the side. From here, I just took the little covers, popped those right back into position, reinstalled the push pins, took the underbody panel, reinstalled that the opposite way that we had removed it. And with all that done, that'll do it for our look at and our installation of the Roadmaster Base Plate Kit on our 2024 Ford Bronco.